This is one for me that I think either team is capable of taking. I've got to favor OpTic Gaming. Again, coming into this event, I have them as a tournament favorite. They've gotten kind of their hiccups out of the way. They're now 2-0 in this pool. They want to secure that top spot, waiting for that open bracket team.
I guess maybe one question for me. You saw Arden Forest for OpTic versus E6 yesterday, and OpTic got outslayed big time, but they still won the map, right? They played a little bit smarter. You saw a lot of mistakes from the young players on E6. Can Envy overcome that? You know, we know they have the slaying potential, but where the young guys maybe have some of the flaws that we saw from the E6 side. I don't know, but I think Envy has potential to win game one if they can maybe more turn that slaying favor to their favor in the actual map.
I think for Envy, this is about really getting that momentum and snowballing it through the series. Whether they'll be able to do it, we'll have to wait and see. Elsewhere in the tournament, just to keep you updated, EG did close out game 4. That's a 3-1 victory for them. Vitality LG, that is in a game 5. We will make sure you do not miss any of the action. For now, though, on the Alpha station, on our main stage. As I said before, a decade of rivalry in esports. It's OpTic Gaming versus Team Envyus. Map number 1 underway.
Let's get it, boys. This is the one we've all been looking for. As soon as we saw the draw and pull play, you're like, my God, this is going to be one incredible matchup, and it got chippy really early in the 2Ks, like I mentioned earlier.
This could arguably be the most viewed competitive Call of Duty World War II match to date so far, and it's going to be a fantastic one. So buckle on in, folks. OpTic Gaming going up against Team Envyus. Off the break, we're watching the young prodigy himself, Hook. He's made his return to competitive Call of Duty. And man, is he back with a roster that I know he's happy with.
And I think he is the single biggest question mark for me, at least for this first tournament for Envy. We know how recently he switched back to Call of Duty. We know how talented he is. But is he going to play catch-up and be ready to go quickly enough for this first event is the big thing.
Exactly, and this is a guy, Hook, that back in Advanced Warfare made it to, I believe, 5 grand finals of tournaments in which he faced this OpTic Gaming team in some fashion. Right now, it's OpTic Gaming up 42-0 off the break. Kills coming in on rotation, only one final player there, that's Formal, who's got his hands full with 2 Envious players. OpTic, a flawless hold at the first hill.
That's a terrifying start, 53-0 to kick it off here for OpTic. Now, the big thing you can't allow OpTic to break here easily on the second hard point. You at least have the early setup here for your Team Envyus. You got to turn this into a ton of time.
Well, I actually really like this setup that Envy have right now. They've got their focus on mid-map. Because they have 2 players in Ruins, they can easily supplement whichever side OpTic Gaming tries to push. Right now, it does appear that they're just flooding right on through that main front area. Envy still have Temp here with this SMG, who Temp's 8-3, a 4 streak, trying to earn streaks of his own.
Yeah, and you know, we were in the back with him and Crim6, and we were trying to get them to talk a little trash, but all they really said was like, you know, let's show it with our play. That's what both of them said. They know how big this matchup is. They want to come out and prove it here with their gun skill and get a W for the roster.
Temp dies to an unfortunate engagement versus Formal, immediately spawns back up, 2 pieces, back in the hard point. 57-24 right now the score. OpTic will get the scrap time, but again, it's Envy in control of the new hill. They've only cut down about 10 seconds, though, on this OpTic Gaming lead.
Yeah, and you can just see, you know, if you're not familiar maybe with the boots to the ground hard point, the differences of it, you'll see really when you get the early rotation how difficult those gunfights are. You saw Crim just push out mid-map with Tim sitting on that mid-barrel. Yeah. It's just not a gunfight you're ever going to win. Envy just needs to get a bunch of time here. They're starting to trickle back into this.
Love this view with the sky cam. You can see exactly how OpTic Gaming are trying to develop this push. That's the second hill in a row where they just try to flood from the front side. They're not really worrying too much about the spawns. They just want to get into that bunker, and they're confident they can secure the time from there. Doesn't really work out for him there. Thankfully, Karma's made his way on in. He's trying to make a hero play. Does get 2 before he pays the ultimate price, but Envy now within punching distance.
And you know, you mentioned confidence, and it is big, especially when you're going up a team like OpTic Gaming. You have to be a team that believes you can beat them. That's one of the first steps to actually take out the juggernauts that are OpTic. And what was the team name for Envy in the very first 2K? It was 2018 World Champions, I believe, is how they come in. You know the confidence these guys have. The question is that going to be enough?
Well, we were joking backstage because we know Temp is someone that likes to talk a lot of trash. I'll tell you right now, if you're new to watching and if Envy take this map, if the camera goes on Temp, he'll be up standing, probably chirping across the stage. But backstage in the pro lounge, neither player, Crim6 and Temp, they didn't want to fire the other one up. So they were instead of talking trash, they're like, no, good luck. Yeah, I'm really excited to see you do well.
Show with your gameplay.
I was like, okay, what is going on?
But Hook now coming through with the 2 pieces. Envy still not really, I mean, they're they're in it, but haven't been able to bring this back and put it in their favor to any degree. And, you know, you're dealing with a very slow start from Scump. You know, Scump has been frustrated at times coming into this week, and I could tell how excited he was to get on land and assert his dominance yet again. He's been great throughout the opening couple days, but starting a bit slow here.
We talked about this a few times in last year's season where Scump would have some slow starts to hard points, and it would be one where, you know, the game would be close. And then OpTic Gaming, once Scump heated up, it would be like a 100-point club victory. Right now, though, Scump starts this game 2-9, and OpTic's up by 40. So what happens if Scump begins to win even more gunfights in the hill? He's already got a minute inside the hard point. What if he starts winning, you know, engagements, getting 2 pieces? This game's going to be blown wide open.
And this reminds me a little bit of what we saw OpTic Gaming versus E6 and Arden Forest. Basically, the entire team in negative outside of Karma, the slaying differential going a little bit towards Envy, but they still are controlling the lead. It's just the heads-up plays, whether it's, you know, watching the death cam, making sure you pop up when the next hard point comes in, or just the coordinated breaks they've had behind smokes a couple of times. They just seem to do the dirty work so well. It's a team that plays to win, and they're showing you that right now.
Envy down by about 50 seconds. They've had close to this deficit for the last few hills, can absolutely come back. I do love the use of smokes here from Karma. He's trying to cut off the sight lines from the assault rifle players of Envy to make sure he can pressure that hill with the SMG. Right there, if he doesn't use a smoke, he gets gunned by an AR. Yeah. But because he uses it, he pops in the hard point, and OpTic Gaming take a 40-second swing.
And this was talked about early with the dominance of the bar early, and then now how the FG has just been, I mean, so dominant from an AR position. How do you deal with that? Smokes is one of the great ways to do it.
This, for me, is the hill that will determine this game. Right now, Envy have rotated here. OpTic, though, already with close pressure. They might just clean break right off one push on this hill, and that would be disaster for Envy. Look, there it is. Crim the final 2-piece. Now OpTic up by 1 minute. They've secured the ruins with 45 seconds left to go. This is going to get scary here quick for Boys and Blue fans.
Well, Crim picks up 1, but now the flood all coming in for you, and he is just snapping right now. 7 left in the magazine, but his teammates got him covered, and he's got a couple of streaks to work with. The fighter pilot, the glide bomb, ready to go, and now doubling up their opponents, 145 to 70. OpTic Gaming in complete control.
If you were tuned in early this morning, Crim6 in the first map on the main stage for himself went on an 11 streak. The kill feed now all green. As you can see, Karma joining Crim6 in positive overall now in this game. OpTic have now doubled the score of Envy, even with Scump just at 8 and 18. Envy just can't seem to get much going right now. They've lost some key engagements on the rotation, and they paid the price by 30, 40-second swings from these hills by OpTic.
And you said it there, it's just the key engagements, right? Just the overall raw slaying not going to be as crucial as just, you know, doing it in the crucial moments. But we're on with Crim now, who just continues to line up players of Team Envyus with this FG42. Still has the streaks to work with, and they're just racking up a big chunk of easy time right here at Bunker.
Yeah, Envy need to get something going here quick, whether it's a streak, whether it's a break, fight for these spawns. Crim is just having a field day in middle map. Look at the scoreboard right now. Last year, if I just showed you the numbers, you would have thought the stats put up would be, you know, Scump and formal with those positive KDs. Now, not surprised at all to see this flipped for boots on the ground.
Yes, and we've seen it. It's not just here. We saw it throughout the 2Ks, right? I mean, Crim has been leading the way really in that slaying department. Karma's been right there with them a lot of times, but that's why this roster is so terrifying, right? Any of the guys can do it. And what was a relatively close game early on, I mean, Envy's been struggling to get any points over the last couple of minutes.
Wow. 2-minute lead now for OpTic Gaming. Wondering where Envy can even begin to come back. Finally, when they try to rotate, there's a fighter pilot now called in. At this point, they might just get 100-point clubbed, and what a statement that would be for the 2 top teams in the lead in this pool.
And you know, this is one that OpTic's been looking forward to. They've been excited about this match to prove they should be in the conversation. Because I know, right when this Envy team formed, I said I think they will be the one to maybe challenge OpTic Gaming down the road. I think they do it in the first tournament. Not really, but I do think over the course of the year, that's going to be the roster that can do it. OpTic Gaming, I mean, they want to shut me up. They want to shut any fans up. They are destroying Envy here, map 1.
Still with another streak to use. Envy have to continue to pressure this hard point because OpTic can win off this hill right now. Glide bomb coming on in. That'll clean up Slasher. 240 to 86. Another glide bomb as streaks rain down from the sky. OpTic will see one more hill against Envy. Fighter pilot now. They're going to use this to ensure they can get in this next hard point to shut the door right here.
It's been so bad. I mean, I mentioned a minute ago how bad the past couple minutes were. Over the next minute, they only got 1 second.
Ladies and gentlemen, 245 to 86. Crim6 trying to flood towards this hill. I don't think they'll be able to win right here, as there should be a contest from Envy. Yeah, Temp now staying alive, so still fighting for their life at this point. They just don't want to get 100 Point Club, David.
Yeah, and I don't think we have a map, you know, like Breakout or something last year, where you would see those crazy 100, 150 point swings that would happen quite regularly, really, throughout the course of the Call of Duty World League season. But a lead like this surely seems insurmountable unless Envy is just absolutely perfect and maybe gets every player fully streaked out.
Wow.
But at least right now, as you take a look at the first hard point in this third rotation, they're making it, I guess you could say, less embarrassing than it once was, at least, to kick off the series.
Everyone getting involved on the side of OpTic Gaming. Scump turning things around a little bit from the slow start he had in this game. 245 to 116. OpTic set up one final push here, potentially for Hook. Not gonna happen. GG's. OG with a statement in map 1, 250 to 116.
OpTic Gaming lead the series 1-0, and Jack, to your point, that is a definite statement in there. Envy holding on towards the end of that one, but just couldn't manage to make a comeback there. And I think it's fair to say, Miles, OpTic Gaming looks so comfortable in hardcore.
So comfortable. Again, we're not surprised. It's E-Classico by name only right now, because let's face it, this is the very different Envyus squad. But again, tons of potential. They're going to grow loads throughout the season. It's going to be incredible. OpTic, though, no questions asked, man. Between the streaks, between the kills, everything was on point.
Yep, it was beautiful gameplay.
And it's just, we're in one of those eras right now. I mean, specifically, they were dominant last year, but we talk about all the team changes that happened, coming back to Boots, how we expected OpTic to dominate. This is like thinking back when Tiger was in his prime and so good that you would take Tiger over the field at certain times. That's how I feel right now. Like if I had to take OpTic Gaming,
Golf.
I think it's golf.
Yeah, if I had to take OpTic or the entire field coming in this
We have a
tournament,
player named Tiger.
you're taking OpTic. They're that dominant right now.
I mean, you're absolutely right. OpTic Gaming 1-0 up against Envyus, but elsewhere in the tournament, I think it's fair to say this could be the biggest upset so far. You heard me mention it. Vitality LG went to a Game 5. It also went to a round 11. Boys, you were casting, so I didn't want to intrude, but this is a replay of the round 11. It happened mere moments ago.
John,
I mean,
John's going to make a play. It's going to be John or
now, you don't know what happened.
I have no idea.
Tell you.
I have no idea.
You're going to see right here, right now. It was ridiculous, Glenn.
They had artillery?
Don't worry about it.
Oh my goodness.
Just don't worry about it, Jack. Obviously, you see Jacob falls. It's a 4v3 in Vitality's favor, and you start thinking, okay, surely the French squad can do it. This would be the time.
John's making a play. I know. My baby John. He's going to do it.
You saw something, didn't
No,
you?
I did. We were casting. John always does some crazy things.
I'm not spoiling it for you, boys. I'm going to spoil it. 45 seconds left on the clock. As you can see, things start to get a little close to the wire. Still 4 versus 3 as well. Vitality waiting so patiently. You think John's going to make a play, Maven? Is this going to be the play you're expecting? Bomb starts to be planted. Tagged up from behind. Has to get off and falls.
Oh, the 2 guys I picked are dead, so good job, Maeve.
Slacked. 1v3. How much faith do you got in Slacked right now, Jack?
To be honest,
With 20-some seconds, does he do this?
3%.
1v2.
faith. What does that mean? I don't know.
Well,
Stop it.
first pick.
Can we get an update on 3% now, Jack?
They don't give this.
7%.
There's no way they give this to him. What was that little dive?
Okay.
Doesn't happen.
Okay.
Oh.
Vitality.
You were hamming that up like it was about to happen.
I was trying to confuse you, okay?
Yeah, you did
The
a
way
good job.
he was
Good.
talking, I thought for sure like LG
I
was
was
somehow
hyped. I was
combined
about to
the 3
freak out.
Nope. Vitality get the win. Game 5, round 11. 3-2.
I love
LG's
this.
First loss.
I have said this for a long time, that I think the single biggest thing that would be the biggest for Call of Duty esports would be really, you know, a French team really stepping up big, Spanish team, German team, like some of those international players going big. That's huge, man. That's
Well,
great.
talking of Search and Destroy, as you can see, OpTic Gaming, Team Envyus, map number 2, underway.
I'm still in shock from the last game, the round 11 we just saw, but here we go. OpTic up 1-0. Envy looking to bounce back, and they're already in a 1 versus 4. Slasher,
What?
prayers, buddy.
What was that setup right there? We got this into this round a little bit late, but I think Envy just sent like 2 people into the site, had no one watching the top push. I think they were both watching the same side, and Karma just killed 3 of them.
I mean, it's hard to hold off with 2, but yes, if you're not watching top specifically, you're going to be in a whole lot of trouble. I know that we've played wagers, and at times I don't watch the correct spot, and you yell at me.
It's most times, actually.
It is a lot.
Oh, and he spots the final one. Karma looking for the ace here in round 1. 35 seconds left. This would be a 1v4 for Slasher, now 1v3. There he goes. OpTic Gaming take round 1.
Well, he got 3.5. I believe his nade was the assist there on the final kill.
Sure. I forgot. You do so poorly, you count half kills for yourself.
Yes, I do.
I don't think Karma judged himself like that.
Absolutely. You got to take everything you can get, even if you're a 3-time world champion.
Well, Karma, nice job there. As OpTic Gaming will strike in the first round. Let's see if they go for a B push, just like Envy, except how will they make sure they can't be 3-piece from the top window area?
Well, we know it's going to be very, very B-heavy, unless maybe streaks come involved later. It looks like both teams investing a lot of nades here. Envy actually invests enough to back up OpTic, and they're going to have to mix things up. And it looks like they're going to wrap out to A almost immediately, and Scump just puts Temp 6 feet under.
And the key thing is here, OpTic able to go right now for this very quick plant A because they have confidence, because Scump is in top mid window. Because Scump is up there, there's no one watching the A-bomb cross. Now they get the objective planted. Even though Slasher makes it a 3v3, this round definitely favors OpTic Gaming.
Yep, like you said, mid control so big as far as being able to look over or peek the bomb, but as Hook wins a gunfight, gives them a chance in this one, and that's Formal not able to finish. They actually get across and pick him off, so Karma gonna have to go big. Nearly an ace in the first round. He's gonna have to work some magic here. He spotted one. He's worried about his flank and also the mid cut. You see he's coming through mid and he's gone. Hook gets a couple of big kills there. Actually 3 in that round to get it done.
I think the key thing there was Scump, because he charged into that middle window, didn't have Mountain on, and with Airborne was very active, moving around,
They heard him stomping around.
They heard him stomping a little bit. They wind up cleaning him on up, and because of that, because he dies that middle building, it frees up that lane to make a play, which is why Formal got flanked at that middle truck.
Yep, well, to be fair, I think Formal probably should have had a kill mid-map too. You know, he had 2, he was challenged to get the barrels. He likely should get 1 kill there at least before dropping, but can't get it done. As a result, Envy now ties things up 1-1, and they're trying to make a fast play behind Airborne into the B site.
Hook. The typical strategy here, you know, is go for this plant while watching your front. OpTic should time these nades on out to pick them off this site. There we go. Yep, there's the help. Hook definitely got weakened by a second grenade there, and just like that, the bomb is not planted.
And I feel like you need to expect that. Like, if you get into B easily and you're not hit with any nades to slow you up, you know they're doing that.
Yes.
Like, it's just, it should be so obvious. I know you want to get the plant down before it's done, but
we've seen some teams in those scenarios actually plant on the Temp reads the pressure from Krim, and now he's challenging Karma on the site. Karma's one shot. Temp weak as well. Will he go ahead and challenge this one straight from the front? Karma, I mean, he's got all the cover in the world, but Temp is holding the angle. Does Karma recognize he has to reload? Oh, Temp! Oh, and see, when I talk trash talk, that's what I'm saying. Temp getting fired up, and for damn good reason there with the 1-on-2.
How good does that headshot feel? But that's just, I mean, in that situation, does Karma have the better positioning? Absolutely, absolutely. But after he gets weakened and he has to go down, it actually becomes a tough spot. You're not exactly sure where Temp has moved to. Yeah. His crosshairs directly on his head. Good patience by Temp just to hold the angle, wait for Karma to go vertical and bury him.
Wow, big round there for Temp, as he clutches a 1v2 against 2 guys that have combined 5 COD World Championships. Actually, unbelievable. As Slasher will get first blood, as Envy look good in this search and destroy.
That's another one behind it. Krem and Formal now going to have to try and clutch a 2v4, and they've, on offense at least, not been able to get into the B site and really get things going like we saw Envy do for a couple of rounds. They've had to wrap it out through mid street. You see Krem roaming towards the A site. Formal now trying to make a play up mid.
Did Slasher spot him in front building? I think yes, he did. So now it will be Crim6 all by himself in the 1-on-3.
Krem trying to make a play here. He's got one of the pillar. Wisely going to back down for now, but classic. Just playing with him.
Player in the stairwell. He's pinned in this bottom hardpoint room, as this round should just be done any moment now. 27 seconds left. There he goes. Envy now up 3-1. So right there with OpTic Gaming, their play we've seen so far is like they send Karma towards B to try to see if he can spot someone crossing towards that middle statue with his FG and kind of melt them and see if there's a first blood. And if they get that, if you look, they're sending the bomb towards middle street. If Karma gets the first blood B, I believe OpTic's play is then flood the site and take it. Or if he doesn't, he tries to stay alive, and then they just rotate to A.
Well, it seems like they've changed something up. I remember Krim tweeted a week or 2 ago. He said something along the lines like, if you expend your nades and don't get into B, he said, like, you might as well try and jump out of the map, because it's so hard to make a play at that point. It seems like they've tried to adapt around that and at least have a secondary strategy. If you don't get into B, However, it hasn't really worked very well, and you see how hard it is when you're hitting through mid, hitting towards A. It's very, very difficult.
Look at Envy. They're expecting some sort of OpTic pressure. They have not even pushed into the site yet.
Well, I think this time, they know what happened last time, right?
Yeah.
They try to get the bomb down. They catch 2 nades almost immediately. Karma's up in that top window, trying to cook one on the bomb. Let's see if they expend those nades. This Classic has got onto
See,
it
look,
now.
wait.
Here they go.
Look at where Classic's planning. Can we look at where Classic's planning very quick?
They cook too. They don't get a kill with it. They do challenge though. They weaken the guy at the back statue. I think weaken him at the back doorway as well. But Temp, again, gunning with the FG.
Yeah, Temp watching over. Classic gets one more week as well. Yeah, this round should be done. Look at where Classic, remember earlier in the game where I talked about planting the bomb on the opposite side? There, he plants it in that far left corner, OpTic expecting him to be planning on his side like you normally would, like they have been so far this whole game.
It's a good job adapting.
Mind games right there.
Yeah, make OpTic guess a little bit, right?
So good, man. That's what it's all about. Everything we've seen so far this weekend in Search and Destroy has been using those grenades. Obviously now everyone using Hunker lets you eat 1 grenade. It takes 2 to kill you. So it's up to teams to coordinate exactly where they want to hit. OpTic picked the wrong side of the bomb that time because A, they have no eyes on it, and B, Envy play that mind game.
Yeah, Karma looked like he threw it kind of deep. Like, it looked like he was almost trying to hit the player on the back tower and also the bomb. I couldn't tell exactly where it went, but definitely not close to tagging up Classic. Now, finally, OpTic going to be able to get into B. They'll get this plant down. And those come the 2 nades.
And those nades come flying over from middle map. So there's a nade spot. If you hit that front courtyard, you see multiple Envy blue arrows there. They're now retaking to try to pinch from this flank. This is just so smart, man.
It is. But like you know, even in a 3v4, if you have the B side, it's still very, very winnable for OpTic. But it's 2 drop and they pinch. I mean, everyone just gets swarmed. I mean, what could OpTic have done differently once you get the bomb down? Was that just perfectly played by Envy?
What I liked right there was that Envy showed that they're hitting 3 in middle. So they expect someone from OpTic to try to rewrap the flank, get out of that site so that they can kind of move around, pinch those players in that position. So what do? They have Temp waiting for someone to get aggressive, holding that other side of the site. Scump goes flying out. Once Temp kills him, that's basically Envy knowing, hey, they've got to be pinned in that back building. They collapse and clean him up. A clean sweep in that round.
That's good read by Temp, because I would prefer Scump just kind of hold that site. You know how easy it is to hold when you've got 3 guys in, but as you lose one and Crim's out the back, becomes much more difficult. But yes, Classic now, fighter pilot and a glide bomb to work with, and a 5-1 advantage. Envy dismantling OpTic Gaming right now on St. Marie.
Wow, looking good so far. Are the boys in blue, and with these streaks, they've got to be feeling great. A quick flank, though, does come in from Crim6 this round. It's going to be a little bit uncomfortable. Hook all by himself left in this B site.
You can do a lot from this B site, but a 1v3 might be too much for the youngster. Is 2 at the flank, 1 from up top, and he is taken out. OpTic would now have to pull it back from 1-5.
So when we talk about shoulder peaks, right there, that was a perfect example of one. You see how Hook, he's holding that top angle. Scump has no intention of getting in a gunfight with him there. He just peeks his shoulder out, spots that the player's there, says, hey, Crim and Karma or Crim and Formal, whoever left, come on through. They come, charge forward, clean up that kill.
Well, you saw as soon as Hook saw him shoulder peeking, he immediately looks to the back.
Yes.
He knows it's coming, but there's only so much you could do in that tough spot.
If you hear your teammate in ranked play, folks at home say, shoulder peek, I got you. That's what they're talking about. That's a shoulder peek right there. Lessons with Uncle Jack.
I'm the worst shoulder peeker of all time.
That costs you guys money watching at home. I don't know how many you're paying me, but it's going to happen.
All right, well, Hook now with a first blood. This could be the final round here. But
with streaks too,
you've got the bomb planted. The streaks are going to be the big thing. Yep, and they're going to invest them. So the streaks do start to come in.
Oh, I love that, man.
And they get out. Nope, Karma dead. He tried to push to the front, maybe get a kill before he's taken out, but not able to do it.
4 versus 2. Scump and Formal. Scump gets 1. Scump nearly spots the second. Formal should know one's above him. That's weak. But the pinch should make the difference here unless Formal can make a magical play. Almost gets it. Had the right intentions. But Slasher cleans it on up. Look at the scoreline from Envy. Everyone getting involved. Nice victory there for Envy as they tie the series 1-1.
Yeah, no, that was fantastic stuff. They look great there in the Search and Destroy. It's a map that you've seen OpTic Gaming get frustrated on the past. Great win from Envy. They tied up this series. Can it go the distance, buddy? That's what I'm looking forward to.
Do not miss it, folks. This is what it's all about. Here at the CWL Dallas Open, it's the first major Call of Duty World War II LAN event. And we've got the 2 biggest and best teams in the world, OpTic versus Envy. Game 3. Don't go anywhere.
OpTic Gaming will still be a force to be reckoned with in boots on the ground Call of Duty.
The big thing for me with OpTic is it feels like this year Karma and Crimsix are just so motivated. They feel extremely comfortable, and you can see in their gameplay so far, they've been absolute superstars.
If you look back, you know, Crimsix and Karma considered two of the greatest players all time on boots on the ground.
They're already celebrating in the booth.
Scump, even though he was young and raw for some of those titles, you saw the greatness in him then.
This is the
3-0 TK.
biggest win coming out of OpTic Gaming.
And Formal was actually the most recent championship winner for boots on the ground, looking back at the end of Ghost.
Formal, I mean, he is going to be the second highest slayer right now for this Envy lineup.
I think there's a chance they actually end up dominating more in boots.
There's always that chance. We saw last year there was multiple tournament winners. Players are getting better and better every single event, but it's going to be very tough. OpTic, those forward core guys, they're the best in the world for a reason.
Prior to the last 2K heading into Dallas, it kind of seemed like no one was going to be able to beat OpTic, but after these results, seeing E United take them down in that Game 5, it seems like there are 4 teams at the top that are going to be serious competition in Dallas.
Game 1, it was all OpTic Gaming. To be quite honest, Maven, it was a stomp. But in Game 2, Envy toyed with OG in S&D. And now we've got ourselves a tied series heading into London Docks CTF.
Well, we talked about this coming into the event. Like, a team's going to need to beat them in Search if they're going to take them out. We know what a force to be reckoned with they are in Respawn, and when you take a look at Search, it's so early in the event, it hasn't been played a lot. There's going to be some strategies coming out that maybe we haven't seen, and God, I will see if Envy has a recipe for success here against OpTic Gaming.
Well, we saw Luminosity put on a show earlier on this map on the main stage. They pulled the flag 11 times, Maven, and capped 9 of them. And that was a testament to the lack of communication and teamwork, in my opinion, on the side of Ground Zero that let that happen. They're not calling out who's missing. They're not covering all their bases and lanes. They're not rotating back enough to ensure that their flag is covered. I want to see if either of these teams have slip-ups like that.
Well, it's been interesting so far. You know, in the past CTF, typically you kind of have a favorite lane. You like to pull it through, but with how deep the spawns are on a lot of these maps, you've seen most guys, they pull it and they pull it right through middle. You're just trying to get out as fast as you can with that 7.5 second respawn. If you get out through mid, you're scoring almost every single time. So we'll see who gets the edge early in this one, but it's been interesting so far for me.
Hook right now, the furthest pushed up on Envy. On the opposite side, it's Formal for OpTic Gaming. And ooh, so one thing we talk about in CTF, and right there, you know, Hook unfortunately does get cut down, but one thing we talk about maybe is sneaking plays. And in a scenario like that, don't really think a sneak is worth it because there's still 2 more lines of defense for OpTic. But if they knew that OpTic was in their base, right, and Crim was the last one pushed up, Hook absolutely could have played a kind of a sneak play, gone for a pull, trusted his teammates to get kills to try to run a flag on through. There, though, tries to challenge a gunfight just to weaken this pressure, and it doesn't work out for him.
Well, we just saw there Crim dominating inside a beer. At least did a good job staying alive long enough, finding a couple kills so his teammates could start to layer up the map. But yeah, look at the mini-map right now. You see that number 1, that's Classic, who's going to be kind of on the B-bomb side of the map that has a chance to maybe make a play. But if you're OpTic, you know this. You're calling out how many are dead, how many are alive, what lane is open. They know that's open, so look at that number 7. That's going to be Crimsix. Just he's looking back at the flag. He's talking to his teammate that just came off spawn. They're worried a sneak might come into play, but so far, nothing yet.
I love that one, Classic. He tries to spin around and challenge fire. He realizes that was not the right thing to do, just dives out of harm's way and plays his life, which in CTF is so key. If you haven't played CTF yet in competitive for Call of Duty, we play with a 7.5 second respawn delay, which is by far the longest we have in any respawn mode. What that means is you gotta make sure when you play a life, when you spawn on up, you make that life worth it. You do what's most important for your team, and there for Classic, it's staying alive and trying to force OpTic to rotate back to their base, cover their flag, so they can't push forward to the Envy base.
The slower the game mode, or the longer the respawn, the more valuable each life becomes. And how much scarier those 3 and 4 down situations become that you really have to avoid. 2 players drop for OpTic Gaming. They're just coming in off spawn. They know pressure. Well, I was going to say it's coming from this side. They should have been spawning out the bottom. One player does end up spawning in behind, I believe, from Scump as he pushed forward.
What it was Envy were actually pushing from everywhere on the map, that instead of getting the typical lower dock spawn you'd see on the kind of left side of your minimap, a player spawns right inside that crane hardpoint, that close crane area, and can easily just look at his flag.
Is that a miscommunication from Envy, or just a timing thing? They thought they had to go really quickly. It wasn't more about what prongs you attack from more is trying to get that flag out.
I think it was more of a testament of the player from OpTic just staying alive and not challenging anything, and realizing if I stay alive here, my teammate will spawn right on top of me, and they can then go watch the flag. I just need to play my life, and that's what they did.
All right, well, with 1 minute and 20 seconds left on the clock, we do get a flag out. Crim6 is going to get a pull, and he just took it right out to mid-map like we were talking about. Unfortunately for him, if you look at mid, you've got Classic and Slasher there trying to halt this. So he's stuck inside a beer right now, just trying to make a play with it. But as he gets a kill, Karma, Scump also in the kill feed, and that's out.
And that's a capture. I can promise you something. In ranked play, your teammates probably sprint middle map with that flag and getting killed there. Crim recognizes, I've got to stay alive more than anything. He stays in the opponent's base to let his teammates push on up, wipe out the pressure in middle that he had to watch out for, and then there's an easy capture, and now he's got streaks.
Incredibly smart play, good patience from Crim6, and like you said, OpTic Gaming now on the board. We'll see if in the final 40 or so seconds if Envy can answer back, but they're kind of pinned in their base right now. It looks like if anything, you might get an eventual flag pull coming in from OpTic as they continue to push forward. Scump trying to make plays. There's 2 more players to deal with. He checks the corner. One more.
Oh, no!
He gets gunned. That's a cap. That is a cap. They drop all 4 as Scump annihilates Classic. It'll be 2-0 going into the half, maybe more with the new rules.
You hate to see that if you're an Envy fan right there.
That's the power of the machine pistol.
Can we swap to Formal very quickly? I think he should have a streak of his own. Yeah, this is just looking rough right now for Envy.
They might get another.
They got another pull.
They got it.
They got another pull. No, go back to the game. Get back to the game. They're running another flag.
That's going to be another cap.
They've got full streaks. Everyone dead on Envy. The new rules in CTF give you a minute of extra time if a flag is pulled. What an ending to that side for
That's
OG.
exactly like why I said what I did when they were going for the second one. They might get a third with the new rules. They had 3 players up in aggressive position, ready to make a play. They relay that perfectly. What was a very close game for what, 4.5 minutes? The doors get blown off in the final 30 seconds plus OT.
And you see Scump, the man that made that one possible with the 3-piece. This guy has been a force in every Call of Duty game since name one from like 2011, MW3, something like that. I mean, the guy's always been on top of the game. Crim with streaks. Can we see how many does Formal have? Formal's got a streak of his own, still, 10 points off of earning that glide bomb. I believe Scump may have some as well. In this one, he did just die, but we'll check after he spawns on up. I mean, a minimum of 4 streaks right now for OpTic. Make it 5. Wow, this is going to be rough for Envy to come back. Okay, so 5 in total.
Okay, and that's
5 streaks in CTF.
Exactly, like that's the big thing. I mean, you're going to have to be running Mountain basically the entire second half if you're Envy to try and avoid those. Then you become a lot more susceptible to nades. So I think if OpTic's pushing forward, if you're trying to take them off that back box, which has a place of power in their base, you're even more vulnerable now. If you have Mountain on, you might be. But this is going to be tricky.
It's interesting how the series has gone so far. OpTic dominate game 1, Envy dominate game 2, and now it's OpTic dominating game 3. Will we see this continue all the way into game 4 as Karma nearly lines up the 2-piece there? Can we pull up the full scoreboard? Is that possible, just to see exactly, look at the defense right now. Look at Envy's defense. So you get a return when you stop a flag that's been pulled. Right now, 0. So OpTic have pulled 4 flags and have captured all 4.
Yeah, it's been flawless when they've been able to get to the base. And yeah, honestly, each time they've scored, it's basically been, what, a 3 or 4 down. Like, they haven't been contested at all. Once the flag's been pulled, it has been a very, very easy score. Slasher might have thought he was out. Scump had something else to say. There's a return.
There it is. So Envy have 2 pulled. So to put in perspective, right? OpTic have pulled 4 flags. They have 4 caps. Envy have pulled 2 of OpTic's flags, and OpTic have 2 returns. So this so far, it's been kind of desperation pulls from Envy and OpTic on the other side because of their slaying so far this map. They've been able to pull flags with 3 dead on Envy, making it an easy capture because Envy don't have streaks.
And again, OpTic Gaming is one of the more vocal teams on why they thought capture the flag was a superior game mode to Gridiron.
That's another capture.
I think you're seeing why they like it. That'll be another uncontested cap for the most part. Everyone from Envy coming up spawn.
It's also full streaks now for Scump.
This is a blowout. Like, it's just like game 1, if not worse.
If I will say, if there was a game mode truly that I thought this Envy team would be very weak in, at the start of their kind of tenure together, it would be CTF.
And that's where you think OpTic would be very strong.
Yes.
So this is, yeah, you'd say best game mode maybe for OpTic or up there and probably worse for Envy. The question is now, can you somehow get to a game 5?
Who knows? Who knows? Remember, the first hard point was, I believe, 250 to 116. Another flag now pulled. Scump's got Karma watching over. This will be now a 6th capture. So, I will say this. We know that Slasher and Temp in the past, from what we've seen in listen-ins and heard from previous teammates, they are two that can get a little bit heated in the comms. Right now, what do you think they sound like being down 6-0 in CTF?
I mean, there has to be a lot of frustration. And
yeah.
Unless they came in with a mindset like a mindset sort of like, hey, this is a map we may lose. Like, if they know this isn't their strong suit, they know how OpTic gaming, how strong they can be. If they chalk this one up kind of as a loss for them, maybe mentality-wise they stayed strong. I just don't know what they were like going into this map. But I would have thought if I was Envy, this is going to be a very tough map to win.
Yeah, and we're right now seeing the boys in blue be outslayed by 20 kills. They should get a flag out. Will they convert the capture? Don't think so. As Scump, yeah, he's right on his tail.
Look at the difference. Every flag pull you've seen for OpTic, there's no one even really shooting at them. Once they've touched the flag, they're gone. There hasn't even been an attempt for the return. And when you take a look across that top right, as far as who's putting through flags, you've got 2 for Scump, 1 for Karma, 2 for Krim, and 1 for Formal. Everyone being involved in the slang, everyone involved in the objective. That's why they're a terrifying squad.
What's map 4? Is it St. Marie?
I believe it's St. Marie.
Okay, so hard point up next, as we know. This one, though, I mean, you gotta A, forget about this one if you're Envy, and B, this is definitely film you go back and watch. You want to try to see where things went wrong, what you can improve on, how you can change certain things up. First off, you got to win more gunfights. But I think a large portion of that comes into how OpTic played a lot of these scenarios. It's like right there. Karma's ready to challenge every single engagement. Slasher's mid-throwing a nade. Meanwhile, his teammate's already watching over that lane.
Yes, exactly. That's why I think this will be almost easy film for Envy to review, because I think they can go toe-to-toe with OpTic in the gunfights for the most part. It just has to be a communication thing for me. There's just a lot of gaps, I think, right now for them. And am I surprised to see that with a team that came in basically brand new to this title? We were dealing with OpTic who's been teaming for 3 years.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I said it earlier when LG put on a show. Now I've got to give props to OpTic Gaming. Make some noise for them, as they just made Envy, quite frankly, look like an amateur team in that CTF.
Another one in the books there for OpTic Gaming. What an impressive victory. And it's just, yeah, Envy, you know, are they going to be tilted, or can they maybe rebound here in the hard point? I got to think this is one OpTic's probably going to bury, Ben.
Completely agree with you. In terms of stats for OpTic Gaming so far, yeah, of course, they haven't played too many games, but that now puts them at 8-0 in Respawn. But they're 0-3 in Search and Destroy through pool.
Which is funny, because I talked to Scump, you know, the first night we got in. I said to him, I was like, I think if anyone's going to beat you, it's going to be a strong Search and Destroy team, because there hasn't been a lot of scrims, there hasn't been much practice. And he's like, oh no, man, we're the best at Search and Destroy right now. So we'll see. Hopefully this doesn't go back to like Black Ops 3, where OpTic dominates and respawns throughout the year, but struggles so much in Search. I think it's more just, this is very, very early. Whatever team put in more time in Search is going to be looking better.
I completely agree with you. I think if you can take away, you know, a Respawn against OpTic Gaming here, you could be in a good position to potentially take a series against them. Elsewhere in the tournament, still plenty of games going on. There's been so many early on Saturday. We can actually send it over to our Charlie stage now, where Mindfreak are going up against Team Caliber. This one, Miles, is tied at 2-2.
2-2. These are my boys. These are my boys, Mindfreak, and I know they're very disappointed with how the competition's been going for them already. You know, we've all got our critics, but no one is harder on you than yourself. I mean, and these guys are eating each other alive. But regardless, you know, 2-2 at the moment. TK took the hard point. I don't know the score of that one, but again, fairly convincingly. I mean, let's face it. It's been a tough run for Mindfreak, but here is a chance for them to really turn things around. You got Buzzo going 6-2. We call him Full Streaks Buzzo in Australia, but it's a little different here.
Haven't heard him name that for years.
Oh, yeah, all right.
Actually,
all right.
Who calls him that?
his parents?
Yeah, let's say his family. His family and you, mate.
But this would be what for TK to be basically undefeated thus far. They've gotten blessed in some situations, as far as, you know, they have a miraculous comeback down 0-4 in a Search. A Rise gets forfeited in the game 1, but it's still they're getting the victories, though, is what counts. And we'll see if TK, who I think we're all excited to see back at the top, they keep it going.
We'll keep you updated with how that game goes as well. We have E6 versus Unilad. That's on our Delta stream. Mindfreak versus TK, as we just upped in and Red Reserve versus Rise. Red Reserve 1-0 up in that one. But for now, it is back to the main stage matchup. OpTic Gaming versus Team Envyus, and it's OpTic Gaming 2-1 up.
Here we go. We'll see if OpTic can close the door on Envy's run, at least in pool play here on Saturday. But God, I don't know, man. It's like, this all depends on what Envy's comms are like, if they're going to be able to respond to this. They just got absolutely beaten, battered. Can they bounce back?
This team was formed to try to take down the likes of OpTic Gaming. This is their first chance that I expect them to 3-0 sweep OG. Not at all. You know what? Have they made it this far in the series to a Game 4? Yes. I absolutely think they're capable of forcing the Game 5. And as we said, if you're an OpTic Gaming fan, you need them to shut the door here because your team has yet to win an S&D map so far this weekend.
I know personally, just as a caster, I would love to see a Game 5. You know,
yes.
we always root for those. We want a round 5, Game 11 as often as we are able to get it. But so far, Envy in control. But Scump picks up 3. He wanted 4. Takes out Karma as well. Big play from him, but take a look at the top left of the minimap. You see, you've got Envy completely set up here for the next hard point. What they can't allow to do, we saw TK doing it to Rise a little bit in earlier series, just breaking through the front very easily on some of these hard points where they get set up early. See if OpTic can do it right now against Envy.
And Formal's going all the way for those back spawns from that outside lane. Scump now dead off that 3 streak. Formal does actually get his teammate the spawn. Scump spawns next to Formal, even though there's still Slasher back there in this spawn area. That's got to be frustrating. If you're Slasher right now, you're doing what you can to stay alive. Meanwhile, OpTic are getting the close spawn. They've now broken this hill, and they're up by 20.
Yeah, another thing we see.
Oh, no.
Rise, they're putting so much pressure there on that back mid-alley that they end up getting that close spawn. Fantastic stuff there, but you get an early break. Yes, you're going to give up the next hard point to Envy unless they can bust through here. I mean, you have to hold this transition if you're Envy.
We've seen a couple times where St. Marie begins to get crazy. If a team can hold the full time like OpTic's doing right now, on this Barn Hill, and then rotate over towards back church and break in on one.
Well, a lot of times you don't see it happen until later in the game when you maybe have a streak to do it behind,
yes.
right? Like a fighter pilot that'll outbust you in. But yes, exactly. Money Hill to Money Hill here, 2 to 3 is where you can flip the game on its head. I don't believe there's been any streaks earned yet, so hopefully it wouldn't be an easy break. This is a good chance for Envy to get back in, if not take the lead.
Well, let's see if OpTic Gaming are able to do it. Envy were up by 50, or OpTic were up by 50, sorry, at their largest lead. Crimsix and Scump, you see them pushing through the sky camp for these back spawns. Slasher is there to greet him. He picks up 1. And he's going to continue to stay alive for the moment as he cuts down 2. That could be the key 2-piece to giving Envy the full 60 here.
There's your anchor player just holding those back spawns for his team and doing an excellent job. 1 kill with an aid, 1 gunfight victory there over OpTic as well. And yeah, I said, this is where Envy may take the lead. It's looking like they may do just that.
And OpTic have to give it up. And that right there is boots on the ground hard point. There's no other way to put it. It just comes down to if the team can rotate, if no one can clean up the anchor and get the spawns for their team. You saw Slasher was only able to be challenged here, what, 2 or 3 times? In previous years, you're getting challenged on that back anchor spot 6, 7 times on one hill. And that obviously leaves much more opportunity for the team trying to push back into retake.
I mean, it's big for OpTic that they broke into the second hard point as quickly as they did. Otherwise, this would be a blowout for Envy right now, really, if Envy gets that first hold. But here we go. We'll take a look at the lookout post. As both teams kind of fighting, you see the spawns on side. Now, where Classic is, the only scary part when you're in this top mid building, if Envy players die, a lot of times you'll actually see them spawn out sort of the back right, have a longer move over, like that. You see him spawn number 7. You don't get that side spawn where you can get back to the hard point very quickly. So Classic, yes, in a good position where you can pick up kills, you sometimes get kind of wonky spawns for your teammates, though.
And Classic, he's just trying to do everything he can to stay alive. Nice shots on the Formal there. Just 50 points now off the fighter pilot. Envy still keeping bodies near this hill, but where Classic is really dominating in top window, his team keeps losing gunfights in the hill.
Yeah.
Oh, we got 2 right there. Okay, so he earns 2 streaks because of that. He gets a collat onto Karma and Crim.
Wait, he did get 2 streaks?
He gets 2 streaks because he collatted 2 of them.
Well, that's big. So yes, you respond to your teammate teammates out a little bit further, so they couldn't pressure the hill as much, and OpTic picks up some time. But these streaks, if used well, could make up that and more time, especially when we talked about that rotation from the second to the third hard point later in the game.
40-second lead now for OpTic. Nice job by Scump alongside Karma to keep holding off this Envy pressure from both bottom and top middle windows. 50-second lead now for OG. Formal staying alive. He's using the AR. He's now got the SMG, swapping to whatever weapon is best for the scenario he finds himself in.
Well, Temp now set up inside, just trying to rack up as much time as they can. Still very much in this game. Slasher starting to push through. They want to get set up for the next hard point. You take a look at the minimap, that number 4, it's Formal all the way in the back. He's gonna have some key gunfights here. Can he win them both? No. Great little duo work there from Envy. It's just like 2 versus 1, basically, is why he got the edge.
And that right there is, again, the chance where now Envy can begin to claw back into this game. They've got the spawns. They are rotated here, but OpTic having a couple streaks. Do they like to use them, Maven?
They may, but like, remember what they did last time? They kind of pushed up that right alley. They were able to get the spawns there. This time, you see how far pushed out Classic is? That's forcing a really deep spawn for OpTic Gaming. They're going to have to traverse the map all the way really from the 3rd hard point.
Yeah.
This has been a much better hold, much better positioning from Envy this time through. OpTic has not been able to flood at this point, and you're still getting the deep spawn here from Envy. This has been a very nice hold thus far.
OpTic don't hesitate at all in bringing out the smoke grenades if they need them to try to break a hill. We've seen it now both in map 1 when they had to break that first hard point on Ardennes. Now here they bring them on out when they're trying to flood that front. You can see there, again, just cutting off whatever mid lanes they can. 145 to 137, Envy now back within 10.
Now I would like to get over to Classic because I'm curious. Does he invest the streaks here as they rotate over to
I think you have to.
You know OpTic's going to be set up. You've taken the lead now. Envy back in control. Do you try and blow this open a little bit for the Envy side? We'll see if you invest him.
Well, Classic has begun to move towards barn. You'd expect him to kind of get in this back barn area, wait for a teammate in Hook to be near him. He calls it in. Hook then sprints right towards that spawn to force OpTic to spawn out near that B-bomb courtyard. Here it is. He'll call on the streak. Watch that 8 on your minimap. That number 8 should begin to kind of surge on forward right after that streak is called in. There he goes. He's going to try to block these spawns. There's a spawn out from Formal. Perfectly done by Envy, but now they need to convert the final 2 kills. They need to kill these 2 players before OpTic are able to supplement the hill. They've only got 1. There's still a player in the hard point.
But OpTic's still spawning out real deep. Look, 2 players still spawn at the top right. That was perfect. I mean, that was great use of the streaks. I know they haven't got any time yet, but you should be able to get these final 20 seconds. Props, though, to those final 2 OpTic Gaming players, delaying them from getting right in. You might have been able to rack up 40 or so seconds if you're Envy.
Oh, no.
But still.
Look at Slasher now fully streaked out. 19 and 12 on a 6 streak. Envy now in the lead as they're showing a much better hardpoint gameplay here on St. Marie.
Yeah, this has been beautiful, beautiful stuff. You know, you saw them adapt and hold better on the 2nd hard point. You saw them use the deadly streaks there to get in. This has been fantastic. I'm curious to see how this plays out. This is a hard point. They struggled in the first time through. Yes, Classic did get the streaks there, but they didn't really get any time.
Fighter Pilot is great for this hill. There's barely any cover. Look, Krim immediately cut down. He'll call out where Karma is. Envy now have one side of the map they can push on forward from. But great shots there from Krim to cut down too.
Yeah, it's almost like they weren't sure where they were spawning at for a second. All 3 spawned in stables and flooded right through. Envy just gets torn apart. It was almost like they weren't ready for them to be able to get back to the hard point that quickly based on where their positioning was. But with 25 seconds left, it looks like most of this time is going to be going to OpTic Gaming. Envy just, I mean, they're set up for the next hard point here, and I think just trying to contest from mid-map as much as they can at least here.
Crazy thing is that even after I felt like Envy played that last rotation of hills so well, they end this whole thing at still a 30-second deficit, which is what they started that rotation at.
I mean, I'd have to take a look at exactly what the point differential is, but I feel like Envy's got nothing at lookout post. When you take a look at the 4th hard point, it's been a little bit sloppy for both teams, but I don't think they've got really any points at all here.
Slasher finally dead off that streak. A minute plus in the hard point for him at 23 and 13. Krim now on a 5 streak of his own, trying to get close to that 90-second mark of hard point time. And we are back within 20. Here's a key gunfight for Karma as he cuts down 10.
He's able to make a play inside. Can we get back to Krim to get a chance? I just want to see if he's able to get these streaks is the big thing. He's holding steps right now. I'm going to reload this FG. Can he find any? Okay, just bangs him right through the wall. Fantastic stuff from Krim. And he's looking to get streaked out.
Oh, no.
The last one not going to go his way, but now
Scump kills him in the end. The thing is, Envy had to keep pushing towards that hill. Thankfully, the silver lining is that they are still on the side of the map they want to have. But now they need to win every gunfight on this rotation. They call in an artillery. They call in a glide bomb. 3 streaks just used between these 2 teams as the OpTic look to close the map out here.
But I think the edge does go to Envy just for the moment.
Because of the artillery.
Yes, you might see something else come out of OpTic Gaming here to try and break. I believe they still have several streaks to work with. But like you said, the big thing, this is the first time Envy hasn't been able to get a nice setup for the second hard points because they had to continue to invest towards mid.
Fighter Pilot comes on in. Here's the chance now for OpTic Gaming. Envy can win off this hill. Kills being traded by both. Scump blocks the spawn now for Envy. But because of that, they know someone's flanking. Hook picks it on up. They just have to hold Crimsix in the front door. And look at Slasher. He's flanking in this outside lane. If he can get here in the timing, he can wipe OpTic Gaming off the map. Are they ready for this? Yes, they are! They shut down Slasher. They shut down the front door, it appears. Envy will have one final chance to break this hill.
They're going to be able to maybe break this, but they're not going to be able to transition over. I mean, this game's over.
GG.
We're going to go to the next hard point. OpTic gets it done.
There we have it, folks. GG's in the chat. OpTic Gaming will take down the boys in blue 3-1 in the best of 5.
9-0 in Respawn from their pools. They have looked dominant throughout. Of course, still one more pool play game for them to play versus the squad through Open. But Miles, I mean, watching that,